Hi, Tim. Yeah, good. I have a nuclear clock which is 18:55 and 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I may be a few seconds out, but Yes, a very good evening, everyone, and welcome to the American Express Community Stadium for this Albion Women's Fans Forum. There's plenty to discuss ahead of the new season, so do get involved. We'll be taking questions from the floor for the next hour or so here on BBC Radio Sussex and on the club's YouTube channel. I'm Johnny Cantor. Let me introduce your panel for this evening. First of all, Managing Director of Women's Football here at the Albion, Zoe Johnson. And to my left, the Albion's new head coach, Dario Vidosic. Well, that's a good warm welcome. And welcome to you, Dario. Welcome to the Albion and welcome to the English summer. It's going really well tonight. For those of you that aren't, or maybe listening around the globe even, it's pouring with rain here at the Amex, but that's not going to dampen our spirits tonight. Don't forget, do raise your hand if you want to ask a question. It does go very, very quickly, 60 minutes, so do take this opportunity to speak to the people that run your club and look after the squad as well. So it's a massive opportunity. It's very exciting because it's the first one that we've done of these, and hopefully there'll be more to come in the future. But first of all, I just wondered, Dario, if you just want to say a few words to everybody who's come along this evening and ahead of your first Fans Forum.
Yeah, thank you very much for the warm welcome and also for giving up your Tuesday evening to listen to me waffle on a little bit tonight. I'll try and answer all the questions as best as possible, but yeah, just a very warm welcome to everyone in the room and also everyone tuning in and listening in. So yeah, I'm really looked forward to this night and yeah, let's have a good evening.
Does it feel like it's all happened very quickly in the last few weeks? You've obviously been away to Spain and getting to know everybody, not just the players, but also everybody around the club as well.
Look, it's been terrific. I was fortunate enough to come in a little bit earlier and really get to know the staff, and then yeah, the last 10 days or so in Spain was a great trip. Very, very hot, but yeah, it was with a lot of new players coming in and to really get to know everyone and talk football and also get to know them as humans. So I think we've taken big strides since then, and we had a good game over the weekend. We've got another one this weekend away to Leicester, and then we get prepared for round one.
How important is that as a new coach to have that little period that you can actually maybe come out of the normal environment and just spend a bit of time with the players, getting to know them, and I suppose them getting to know you as well?
Yeah, it's harder. They can't really leave as quickly as possible, and sometimes they do. So yeah, you use that time as best as we could. So a lot of video, a lot of individual chats, and yeah, just getting to know them as people as well, because I think that side's also really important. Sort of, what are their ambitions, their goals in life, and I'm fortunate enough. I've got a very ambitious group of girls that they want success. They want to be the best version of themselves. So, and that's my job to help them to achieve that.
Brilliant. Well, Zoe, I don't know whether you want to just say a few words. Obviously, a lot happening off the pitch, around the club as well, and also bringing in a new head coach as well. But busy summer for you as well.
Yeah, it has been a really busy summer, but probably just firstly, thank you very much for everyone coming tonight, obviously for our first Fans Forum in person. It's obviously something that we've been really excited about, and it's been fantastic from the team behind the scenes to put this on this evening for you all, but also big thank you for you in terms of the turnout is fantastic tonight, and I can only see this helping grow things as well in the future. But yeah, it's been a really busy summer. Obviously a lot of exciting things have been happening both on and off the pitch, obviously with Dario's appointment, and then a lot of other key sort of staff appointments, and then a lot of new exciting signings, but also trying to keep driving things off the pitch as well has been really important in this off-season.
Okay, well, let's delve in for some first questions, shall we? Let's start in the front row. So you've got prime position there, and the first question for our Fans Forum tonight.
Hello, Dario. Welcome to the club. Over the last few seasons, Brighton struggled to win games and conceded many goals. How will you tighten the defence?
Well, there you go, straight in. This has clearly been playing on your mind, hasn't it? I get that feeling anyway.
Yeah, look, it's something that I've looked into. I've developed that side as well. I'm quite an attacking coach, but I take defending very seriously. So if we can dominate the play, then we have to defend less. But then also, how are we structured? How are we set up while we attack, so that we're not open, that we're okay in transition. I understand some of the teams will look to transition against us. Other times we'll have to defend. So we're working on all phases of the game. We've been very, very solid in pre-season. So even on Sunday's game against a fellow WSL opponent, we didn't give away too many opportunities or too many chances. So it's something that we're continuously working on. I'm very conscious of it, and hopefully we'll be a much improved defensive side this season as well.
Dario, everyone's their own man, as it were, but do you have a particular, if you had to describe your style or your influences as a coach, what would they be?
I think I've always sort of been attracted to good football, regardless of where that's come from. I've sort of started while I was playing, probably around 24, 25. My father was also a coach, so then I've spent talking football with him and him helping me as well while I played. I think Pep and his Barcelona was a huge influence, and Roberto De Zerbi as well at Brighton for the last few seasons. But yeah, I'm sort of just love watching football, and I think you can always learn, whether it's from a big sort of picture, 11v11, or even sometimes just the behaviours of individual players. So you can always sort of study and sort of look and find stuff that you can apply to my teams or to my players. So, you watch the best in the world, you try to see what they do, and sometimes you take ideas, sometimes, you take more, sometimes you get ideas to do it in a different version. So, yeah, just understand I'm quite young in terms of coaching, so I know I'll improve. I've got a lot to learn, and I've learned a lot already, and I'm sure I'll learn plenty more.
Okay, lovely. Let's go for our second question. There was loads of hands earlier, so come on. There's another over on the far side. So, gentleman there down the central aisle. Cam's pretty fit, so we'll get you there pretty quickly. So don't worry. But that's lovely.
I'll give a big question. So this is probably more for Zoe. I mean, it's probably a very Paul Barber question, so I'm going to put Zoe in the spot here. So the WSL, obviously, has gone to a private company now, and it's becoming more profitable now as it expands. However, the Women's Championship is starting to struggle a little bit. Is there anything, that the club, to help out? Like, should we consider expanding the WSL? To have more teams in the future. Have you got any ideas regarding that? I suppose maybe Dario may want to have an opinion, but that's really more face.
Yeah, I think that one's probably for Zoe, but obviously for the background, obviously some of our listeners may or may not know there is a new independent company that is taking over the running of both the WSL and the Championship, isn't it?
Yeah, I think the game's gone through a period of significant growth over the past 3 seasons, and I think probably over the last 12 months in particular, we've seen a real transition of real professionalising the game, and some clubs have unfortunately have come away from the journey that other clubs have going on. But I think at some point I can see the WSL growing, because obviously there's some fantastic clubs in the Championship that are investing a lot of not just time and resource, but they're investing in the right ways in the women's game, and I can see that they're chomping at the bit to want to get into the league, and with only that one promotion spot it can be quite challenging for them. So I think probably only a matter of time before that happens, but that's just my opinion. And then I think it will also make it then obviously in the Championship opens the pathway for the rest of the pyramid, because there's also some really strong teams in Tier 3 that are wanting to be a part of the Women's Championship as well, and I think that will help make that far more competitive, and that which in the future will help the long-term growth of the game.
So what are the biggest challenges for a club, like the Albion, but also in general in terms of the growth of the game? Obviously, it's happening at quite a fast pace. But what are the biggest challenges for a club like this? Yeah,
I think we all have. I always say about football clubs, and whether it's men's or women's, everybody has challenges every day, but everyone just has different challenges, and you can come in each day and you don't really know what sort of challenge you're going to get put up against. But I think we're obviously in a real fortunate place where we have a fantastic owner, we have a fantastic board that are really ambitious and really back us in every area of what we're trying to do. That of course doesn't mean that we don't have challenges. I think naturally, as I think Dario's first question there was around not conceding as many goals, like we're trying to compete with teams in the top of the league, in the top sort of 3 or 4 WSL teams. We know there's a gulf between the top 4 teams and the rest of the team, so that's our challenge, is how do we bridge that gap to get closer, and how do we try and get away from what we class ourselves at the minute as that we're in the pack with those that are sort of under the top 3 or 4. Obviously we've got real strong ambitions to be a top WSL team, a top 4 WSL team, and we're really open and honest about that. And I think our challenge right now is, okay, we've got fantastic backing, we've got fantastic ownership, but how do we get closer to the top 4 teams, and actually how do we break our way to be a top 4 WSL team, not just one-off but consistently, and that's where we are on our journey right now, and that's our biggest challenge.
Okay, there's probably more on that one, but this gentleman here, mind your head.
Yeah, I'm trying not to knock my head off. Obviously, there was a bit of disappointment when we lost so many players at the end of last season, but obviously a lot of delight at both the number and quality of new signings, including the new manager. If I could ask a question to Dario and one to Zoe. For Dario, obviously you have a lot of new players to get to know in a fairly pressure-cooked couple of weeks. I just wondered, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being, why did I take the job, to 10 being, it's all sorted, I'm going on holiday till the 21st, how does he feel it's going? And for Zoe, obviously it's hard to predict any lengthy injuries that might occur in the season. We obviously hope for none, or to be sure how the players will all settle in. Is the club still open to further signings during the season if the right players become available? Thank you.
Okay, should we start with you, Dario? 1 to 10, all you need is a number, then you're fine, you know.
Look, I'd have to say 10. It's sort of far exceeded. Look, I was really excited to come over, but I'm sort of waking up really early to want to get back to the club. I spend long hours there, and I enjoy when the girls are in, when we have training, and how much they've improved in such a short amount of time. You know, it's exceeded my expectations, and up to now I'm really, really happy with how we've progressed, and also by the squad that I've got.
Okay. And Zoe, just in terms of recruitment, obviously injuries, nothing anyone can do about that, but in terms of the question, the transfer window's still open.
Yeah, the transfer window's still open, and it closes on Friday at 11 o'clock this week. So we're always, I think the best way to answer that question is we're always recruiting. Our recruitment doesn't just start and stop in transfer windows. We did a lot of, you probably noticed, as soon as the transfer window opened, we announced quite a lot of signings. There'd been a lot of work that had gone in from our recruitment team, and a lot of members of staff across the club over months prior to that, where we're sort of looking at who we're recruiting, identifying them, speaking to them, doing the hard work to sort of try and agree personal terms and terms with clubs to be able to make that happen when the transfer window opens. And that's no different now. We've still obviously got a few days left of the transfer window. It is a very busy week at the moment. There's always conversations going on, and that'll be no different when the transfer window closes on Friday. We might allow the recruitment staff to have a couple of days off, but then we'll be straight back to it, and the recruitment will be starting ready for obviously the January transfer window opening, and then ready for the summer. I think we've always been we know where we are in our journey, and we talk about how we're going to achieve our vision, and that means that we know we're going to have 2 or 3 really busy transfer windows, and because it's going to be a continuous cycle of, yes, there's turnover in players, but we prepare for that. We know exactly what's happening on that. So it's a continuous cycle of that. We're working really hard in that space to make sure that we can bring the best squad available for Dario, but also for the fans of the football club.
In terms of the transfer windows, is it because, like, particularly deadline day has become a big thing, and when it's shutting, and obviously you're looking for any opportunities that are available late in the window, but you seem to have gone for quite a big blend of, there's some players who are very experienced, whether it be Van Kirby, but you've also got a few development players that you're trying to bring in, as well as the big departures, because obviously trying to fill the whole of someone like Elizabeth Turner is probably quite tricky, I imagine.
Yeah, it is. Obviously, Elizabeth Turlin was a fantastic player for us in a time here, and it's never easy to replace a player of that calibre, and that's obviously, we've been able to play a real big part in her journey and her development, and help her go on to currently what is a team that's sat at the top of the table. There'll hopefully come a point whether hopefully it'll be this season, but in the coming seasons, where we don't lose our top talent to teams that are above us in the league, because we're up there and competing, and players will want to stay long term at Brighton, but obviously that's football as well. And I think we have a real clear recruitment strategy, and I think if you only have to look at the journey, what's happened on the men's side and how recruitment happens on the men's side of the club, you can hopefully see that there's an alignment there in terms of the processes that we go through, in terms of the strategy of, we'll always go out and recruit a handful of top experienced pros that can come in and help, and we can bring in then the younger underdeveloped talent that hopefully they can help lend a hand with Dario, as well as helping them develop on the pitch, but also helping them off the pitch in terms of developing their leadership skills as well. So there's always a real clear strategy to what we do there, and that just aligns with everything that we do on the men's side of the club as well.
Dario, do you really enjoy working with players of all different abilities, ages, wherever they are within their playing journey?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's always room for improvement. I think if we use probably Fran as an example, who's, she's won almost everything in the women's game, been very, very successful, has had a terrific career, but I think she can improve a lot. So I think we will probably, or the league and everyone, all the fans, not just of Brighton, but of But a football will probably see the best version of Fran upcoming. So even in her role, there's still a lot that she can learn, and we've started teaching her that, and she done it right on the weekend, scored a hat trick. So I'm excited by, obviously when the club signed her, it's a fantastic player to have, but then seeing her and seeing how much more she can develop, and every other player in the team, that's sort of really, really exciting as well.
Because the club's had quite a big history of bringing players through and developing through, and have gone on to play for England as well. They may have departed, but you've got those types of players as well.
Yeah, it's always nice, I think. Maybe not so much for me when the international break happens and I've got no players left, but it's nice for the club, and being a former player to go and represent your country. It's always beautiful to have that, to play and the national anthem, and you represent much more as well, along with your club, and then everyone, all the support from the club during that window. So and then once you get to the pinnacle of the World Cups and European Championships, so it is nice, and it just shows that we're doing the right thing if our players are being selected for the national teams.
Well, you must more than know anyone how proud you were when it happened for you, so you can translate that for the players as well.
Yeah, exactly. I was fortunate enough to go to 2 World Cups with the Australian national team, so it's memories that stay with you forever, and sometimes you're not that fortunate because it comes around every 4 years. So they're great memories that you don't get to play every week, so it's only in the windows, and sometimes there's less, sometimes there's more. So it's always a great great moment in anyone's career when they can put on their national team jersey.
Well, it's 7:20. You're listening to the Albion Women's Fans Forum live from the Amex, live on BBC Radio Sussex and on the club's YouTube channel. We're taking questions from the floor, so let's go back to the front row.
Hi Zoe, just a couple of questions for you. Do you know when the season tickets are going out? Because obviously it's only a week and a half till the first game. And also, is there any news on the new stadium?
Which one do you want to take first, Zoe?
I'll take the season ticket question. I believe that they have been posted prior to this, and you should have received them. If you haven't received them, then just let Sports Services know. I'm sure they'll be able to sort of point you in the right direction there. But yeah, if you've not received them, you should be receiving them in the coming days. And then the second question in regards to the stadium, obviously we're super public about it and super excited for it. The plan is to get us back into the city of Brighton and Hove as soon as possible. The plans are we're still working on that, still working really hard on that, and as soon as there's any update to give, I'm sure we'll be really excited to get it out there. But yeah, it's still very much work in progress, and a lot of hard work's going on behind the scenes to get us back to the city of Brighton and Hove as soon as possible.
How difficult is that process, Zoe? Because obviously this is a relatively new stadium, really, but in terms of the whole process, but also getting it right, because you don't want to make mistakes, because once you're there, you've gone down that route, it's quite difficult to reverse it. So I guess you've got to take all those different things. There must be many considerations in terms of where, access, transport, facilities,
Yeah, absolutely, and I think it's like anything, like you say, everything takes a little bit of time, and there's a lot of people working hard on it behind the scenes, and just trying to make sure that when we are in a position to hopefully have somewhere to build the stadium, everything like that has been taken into consideration. And I think those of you that know this football club, they'll know that they'll make sure they make the right decisions, and they'll do all the due diligence first to make sure that it's the best experience for the fans, but the operational side for the football club works as well. So yeah, there's a lot of conversations going on daily at the moment, and there's a lot of key people involved in trying to make this happen.
And in terms of, just slightly coming back to recruitment, how much can that help you in terms of attracting players in the future, whether that's short, medium or long term?
Yeah, it definitely helps. Obviously, we've got fantastic facilities at our training ground, and we've got one of the best in the country for that, and that helps on recruitment as well at the moment. But I think having our own stadium here in Brighton and Hove will be absolutely significant to help in that as well, in terms of obviously a fantastic playing surface, but also somewhere where the players can call their home, and having that home stadium will be really important to them, and it'll also help us off the field continue to keep growing our attendances. Like, we're so appreciative to all the fans that are here tonight, but also all the fans that come regularly to Crawley, because we appreciate that is a long way away, and there's obviously a lot of travel and a lot of time commitments that go into that, and we're really grateful for that, and we think when we can be back in Brighton and Hove, that we'll be able to keep driving that side of it. So it does help with recruitment in all angles as well.
Has anyone got any other questions on the stadium while we're on the subject? Because I think there may be a few other ones, but yes, this lady here.
Basically, I'm absolutely thrilled to bits that we're going to get a new stadium, but there's going to be a point from there to here to there, as it were. And travelling to Crawley is not a joy, I have to say, for all sorts of reasons, particularly at the moment. But it just seems to me that, is there anything happening behind the scenes to improve the atmosphere when you're there and the pre-match atmosphere? Because there's no sense of a kind of community and building that football community for the women, I think, for Brighton.
Yeah, and I think that the best piece of advice on that really is, I think that's been fed back in the post-match surveys, and for those of you that do fill those out, we're really grateful for that, because that has been fed back on there, and the supporter services and our marketing team have been doing a lot of hard work in that space to try and build the atmosphere. Obviously there's going to be a singing section at Broadfield this season, which hopefully encourage you all to sort of try and get involved in and try and help us with the atmosphere, because that certainly helps Dario and the players on the pitch. And I know the marketing team are working again hard with the supporter services team to work on any sort of activities that they can put on sort of like pre-match to help driving that. And I think probably when we've played some of the earlier fixtures last season, we've had licensing problems with the Reds Bar beforehand. Again, you feeding that back's really valuable and really helpful, because we've been able to sort of speak with Crawley and make sure that for the first couple of fixtures we know their earlier kick-off times, to make sure they've got that licensing in place to also be able to help that atmosphere sort of pre-game and help build up for the game.
So just in terms of games here at the Amex, how difficult is that? I know some clubs have actually committed quite heavily towards playing at their main men's stadium, but I know that's not what you want long term, but in the short term, how challenging is that with the schedule and trying to rotate round and have more games here?
Yeah, and we've got a real appetite to try and obviously have some fixtures here this season, and I think there's you're probably getting a little piece of information early, but you're probably going to get some nice positive news on that in the next coming days, so keep a watch out for that, because we have got some exciting news around some Amex fixtures coming up. But we talk about building an atmosphere at Broadfield and Crawley, where that's our home, and making that a real home for the players. And I think when we have some of the fixtures at Crawley and we know we can sort of get to those 5,000 plus fans in some of the bigger fixtures, that does really create an atmosphere where you really feel it and you hear it, and it really helps Dario and the players when that happens. And we're really conscious of, at the moment, with where we are when the games do come to the Amex, that can get lost a little bit when you've only sort of got one stadium that's in use. And so obviously the more we build it's always been about, it's not been that the club don't have an appetite to put more games at the Amex, it's been about the whole package of trying to make sure that we're building that atmosphere, we're building the fan base regularly coming to every single game. So of course, as the fans build, the more games we'll get at the Amex, but obviously we're hoping that we also do have that little bit of a stopgap with our own stadium being built around the corner.
I mean, you can tell us now, because no one's listening or watching. It's absolutely fine. Don't worry. There's a small group here. Dario, just as a coach and as a player, how important is that? And I know it's a sort of long-term project, so it's not going to happen immediately. But for you, I mean, you've got this amazing hub at Lancing. It's like the next part, isn't it? But how important it is, and can it really make a difference?
I think so, yeah. I'm sure everyone's felt it here, especially in the Amex when the men's team have played, or once the crowd and that atmosphere builds that momentum. So it is literally like a 12th player, and that's why playing at home is such a big advantage. So we're hoping for big turnouts, big support for the girls. I think they deserve it as well. They are terrific footballers. It's good to watch them play, and we want to put on a spectacle. We want to try razzle dazzle a little bit, and make it fun for the fans to come and watch, and also that we work hard for the badge. And then if we could get our own stadium, that would be terrific. But in the meantime, we just wherever we are, we've sort of taken on the mantra of anyone, anywhere, anytime. So doesn't matter if we have to play in the Amex car park. We're happy to go there and play as well.
Because, Zoe was talking about the challenges. There was a top four. You've got two big clubs now sort of going into the WSL and committing to that too. So anything that can help you, particularly challenging those top sides, which is the thing that everybody is trying to look to do, to challenge the likes of Chelsea and Arsenal, etc.
Look, I think as for the last few seasons, they've sort of been towards the top. But it's a new season. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of change. Even at Chelsea, new manager, new players are always continuously coming in. Everyone's trying to improve, just like we are. So, I've not given it too much attention, to be honest. We want to, mentality-wise, we go out to win every single weekend. So I know the club set their sights on the top 4. I sort of don't want to put a ceiling on that and just say like we hit the top 4, we're happy. So I think at the start of the season, always the aim should be to be champion, regardless if we're, if you're Man City or Chelsea, you've won it many times. I think every team should have that goal, because at the start we all start on 0 points. We all have to play everyone home and away. So there's no real, just because you're Chelsea, you don't get to start every game 1-0. So, and that's the challenge. So, we'll prepare every week. We'll look at the opposition, how we can apply ourselves, how we can, hurt them, how can we stop them and stop conceding goals as well. And, if we put that all together, I think we give ourselves a fantastic chance every match day.
Because what's been your impression? You come over here, I imagine the interviews were done over Zoom or Teams or whatever it may be, to come over and then see the Women's Hub and the environment that the players have to be the best that they can be.
Yeah, it is unreal, sort of the facilities. I was quite lucky in Melbourne as well. We had really nice facilities. So, but I'm sort of quite simple. I just love to be on the grass. So I'm not too sort of carried away. I can sit and do my stuff anywhere. It is beautiful for the players when you come in and you have the grass is like a carpet. Helps us to play our football the way we want to play. But if you're just asking me, I'm easy. You could probably ask Zoe that I'm not too fussed. I've sort of just, it is what it is, and we're lucky that it is very nice. But we need to make the most of that as well.
Okay, lovely. All right, let's return to questions just down here in the second
Hi
row.
Zoe, this is a question for you. I appreciate this is a very complex decision, but I've got a few recommendations for where the women's play for the women's team play at the moment. One is Whitehawk, possibly for the moment, or at the Amex, or in the university's football pitch, because I think Whitehawk would be the best option because it's in Brighton. But I think it should only be temporary until we find a new stadium. I think that's probably the best option.
Okay, so an interim change of home venue. I suppose there's WSL considerations in there as well, Zoe.
Yeah, that's our biggest challenge. I think that would obviously we would love to be back in the city, that's for sure. And I think we just have some set sort of like ground criteria and some grading that we have to follow, and some sort of strict licence criteria which would really restrict us being anywhere else at the moment. In terms of the licence criteria that we have to follow, Crawley is the nearest stadium for us. That sort of matches the criteria that we need to do, unfortunately.
Okay. Is anyone else who's not asked a question wants to ask a question? Put that. This lady over here and that lady. Just because sorry, gentlemen, but you have already had a chance. So let's just share around the love, shall we? And let everyone get their chance of getting in a question. It's already after past, so we've got less than half an hour here on the Albion Women's Fans Forum.
Hi. Last season we had a very poor record of winning matches at home, i.e. Crawley. Have you visited Crawley Football Ground as preparation, Dario? And what will you be doing to instil a positive belief in the squad to win games, especially at home in front of the faithful fans?
Good question. Look, the record wasn't obviously great, so it's something that we want to improve, and that's why we asked for the fans to come out as well and help us in that to create that atmosphere, to be that 12th player for us. I've been to Crawley. We played on Sunday. We arranged a friendly game there so we can, especially for the new players, and to familiarise ourselves with our match day routine, and just so they get to know the facilities. Also went to watch the under-21s to play Crawley as well, so that was a terrific game. And I think it is outside of probably where we want to be. The club has the ambition and the goal to bring a stadium in the Brighton region. So, but just for now, it is what it is, and we have to make the most of it. And we want to make it a fortress for us. And we want to be good and win at home as much as we want to win away. So that's obviously a big focus. But as I alluded to before, it's prepare to win every single match day. Doesn't matter where we are, and doesn't matter who we play against.
Okay.
Thank you.
Looking for a few home comforts next season. Okay, let's head over to the far left-hand side.
Hi, this is for Dario. Hi, Dario.
How are you?
With the other new signings, what can we get excited about seeing in this coming season?
From the new signings or just
Yeah.
from everyone in general?
Yeah, especially what have you brought this? What can we see this season?
Look, I think probably the most popular one is Fran Kirby. I think she'll bring obviously a lot of really what she's brought to the WSL, and she's going to help us. But the club have made other really, really good signings, some really good experience, some young ones that will be really, really exciting. And we're trying to mesh that all together and and create that sort of attacking brand that makes people want to jump on in the car and head down to Crawley and to give up their afternoon and their money as well to watch. So I take importance on that it is important because people are sacrificing hard-earned money to watch, and also giving up when they could be doing anything. And so we want to be able to first and foremost work hard. I think that's the most important thing in 90 minutes, that we represent the region, we represent the club, and it is a hard-working area. So we need to represent the people first, and then we let the football do the talking. But there are days where the girls are humans, where we will have off days, which is normal. But I think coming and working hard and being true to what we stand for, which is we sort of said effort, intensity, and attitude. So those three, if they're present, we give ourselves a fantastic chance, because without those, and if the football's not there on a day, which will happen, which is normal. But if those three are there, we can always give ourselves a great chance. And with the football, we'll be able to challenge everyone. Thank you.
Dario, Zoe mentioned about how difficult it is to replace somebody like Elizabeth Turland, but you brought in probably maybe 3 attacking players. Is it maybe the plan to be slightly less reliant on one player and maybe have a few more options to score you those goals because you want to play this attacking style of football?
Yeah, I think so. I think to be successful, you can't just have sort of one. As much as we all love to have, your 9 to score double-digit 20 goals, that's always good. But we need to have goals coming from different areas of the park. So that's something that we've done in pre-season. We played one game where I think we had 5 different goal scorers, with 3 different goal scorers over the weekend. So there is an emphasis of that, trying to get people in better goal scoring opportunities, more numbers inside the box. So we're working on it, and that's definitely a focus as well.
Because you brought in players from quite established clubs, particularly abroad. I mean, obviously, whether it's on loan from Barcelona or Hacken, a strong women's side, FC20, there's been quite a diverse group, but a lot of them seem to have quite a lot of European experience as well as domestic. Yeah,
that's the beauty of it. I think, as well, being, for me, I consider it the best league in the world. So, and then for the players, it's attractive, to come and compete against the best. So that was a similar reason for me being here, wanting to compete against the best. And we've brought in some really talented girls, and I'm just trying to get them to be the best footballers that they can be. So they come in, they're hungry to learn, they want to improve, from an individual standpoint, from a team collective. So, and at the same time, it's trying to quickly figure out all their strengths and what they can bring. So you see stuff on video, but then when you see them in person, you see them live, it's a little bit different. And then trying to put my blend on it, my touch. And they've been terrific. Sometimes I've even noticed I sort of sit back and just enjoy watching them. So I'm sort of really look forward to match days, because that's sort of the thing that we want to just enjoy them play football. I think that's what it all comes down to, and that's myself as well. I want them to go out, have fun. I think that's why we're all into football. That's what brings us here. It's that love of the game. Why are we, and it plays on your emotions. There's so many different emotions in the game, but I think that's why we all love it. And for the girls especially, as kids, they've loved playing football. So I think that's also very important. That when they go out, we work hard, we love what we're doing, and then we go out and we try to win.
I imagine it must have been quite difficult following the WSL, time differences, access to games. Have you had to sort of just spend a lot of time in front of screens more recently than maybe you did before, or is it something that you could try and catch when you were in Australia?
I tried to, but it was very difficult. So
I know the Seagulls Down Under fans groups always say it's always tricky.
Yeah, the kickoffs were very, very late. If there was ever an earlier kickoff, I would at least try to catch the first half. But that was around 11 p.m, 1 a.m, and then I'd be getting up at like 6:45 the next morning to go to training for my team at the time. So once it all happened, it's try to watch, but. Again, you're sort of watching, but it's going to be a little bit different as well when you come in. So you don't want to get too much of an impression from there. And it was so when I arrived, there was always that, and probably Zoe can attest to this, sort of counting down until they all arrive and sort of twiddling my thumbs, just waiting for everyone to get in the building and get to know them first and foremost, and then to get on the pitch together. And as I was saying before, it's been awesome. I'm waking up early, and I think it's just from an excitement to want to get to training and continuing to improve, and just seeing from that first day to even today, which was the first day back, and the drive that they had. They're pushing the session. We're telling them just slow down a little bit, but no, they're flying, and it's awesome. And then you're willing then to sacrifice and do whatever you need to do to help them improve, because they give everything to be better as well.
Well, not long to go, 10 days before that first game against Everton in the WSL. Right, let's head back to another question just on the side there.
It was my niece that wants to know, when are the squad numbers coming out?
We expected that question tonight. We've got our kit manager sat at the back of the room there, who is putting his head down at the moment. He might want to answer that question. Obviously with the transfer window closing on Friday, then the squad numbers will hopefully be announced on Saturday for everyone. So obviously I know you'll be keen to go and sort of get your shirts, but with us still being a little bit active in the market at the moment, we don't want to announce too soon and then have to make any changes after the transfer window. So if you could just bear with us till sort of later in this week, then they will be out there, and I'm sure there'll be lots of people wanting to go and buy some shirts as of next week.
Good detective work from your niece there to try and find out about the transfers. Is there a number 9 coming in? I know. I don't know whether we actually have revealed it, but have you decided on your captain yet, Dario?
Well, the girls decided on their captain, so we spent a little bit of time together, and I wanted them to sort of choose their leader, and that'll be Vicky again. So in Spain, after we spent some time together, we got them to vote for their captain and also for a leadership group. So she was re-voted in as captain. I think that's also, I spoke to her beforehand, and it was something that she was happy to do, to get that reaffirmation from the group, and she's been terrific as well, and a few other players that are in that leadership group are really driving the girls, but from top to bottom they've been awesome, and she's the leader of the group.
Just tell us about your thought process in terms of letting them decide rather than you decide.
They spend most of their time together. They're in the change room. It's their sacred place, being in the change room. And when they're in the gym, I'll try to drag them here and there to try to talk to them football and different things. But I think it's good when the group chooses, that they choose who they believe is the best person to lead them. She's a terrific example for all the girls, and the girls have made a great decision.
Have you already seen those leadership skills that she has on the training pitch and in those pre-season games?
Yeah, I think the great thing about Vicky and especially about her, I don't think it would matter if I think the armband doesn't change anything. I think we would get the exact same Vicky if she's wearing it, if she's not wearing it. I think she really cares. For the group as well, that they're all okay, and there's a few other girls as well that they're a really close knit group. They look after each other, they push each other, and they've been, from what I've seen, sometimes I'll sort of just watch and just to see how they are a little bit from further away, but they're always hanging around each other, different group, people talking to each other, helping maybe the ones that don't speak English fluently. So even in Spain, they're helping Kiko with Japanese, and getting her point as well across to the group. So they're a tremendous group, and I'm very fortunate.
Lovely. Okay, so there you go. News coming hot off the press about the captaincy.
Hi, thanks for coming to Brighton. We're all pretty excited about the season. football's about results and performances, and you've said that the performances will be there even if, you know, you're aiming for good results as well. What can we, as some of the most committed fans of this women's football team, do for you as the manager to support you? And a follow-up question for Zoe. The recruitment's been great, but if anybody else is like me, there are a lot of names there and a lot of people there, a lot of women there that I don't know anything about, really. And that was one of my personal struggles last year watching. How can the club serve us as supporters and enable us to get to know them better?
Do you want to start, Dario? And
yep,
then, yeah,
I
if
can
that's
start.
okay.
Look, I really appreciate it, but for me, and this is not disrespectful at all, but nothing much. I think it should be all to the players. I think they deserve it. You know, they match day, it's about the players, and every success, I want that all to go to the girls. And when there's the hard times, that's when I'll be front and centre. Then I'll be, so whenever there's those tough questions or anything like that, then I'll be present. But when it's success and when they're doing well, then they should be at the forefront of that. So I think with that, it's just, you know, your support and turning up and, you know, helping the girls, and they really appreciate it. You know, as a player, when people come out and you see, you know, as a player, your name on the back of someone's jersey or in a little one's jersey, you know, it's really inspiring as well. And then even just that smallest thing plays a big part. So, you know, even if we have, say, 50,000 people, it could be one person that you notice that might have that jersey, or a kid going, you know, crazy for Vicky or for Fran or for one of our younger players, and that could be enough to spark something inside on that day, or to just give you that extra motivation that they are, you know, they are role models. There's young people, you know, around the country that are watching every kick of the ball and following them and you know, really interested in them. So you know, I think they deserve everything. It's always down to the players. I don't think anyone turns up on a weekend to watch me wailing my arms around on the side at them. So you know, they deserve everything, and you know, we've got a terrific group there, fantastic footballers, and you know, I think they'll be exciting to watch this season.
Okay, and a sort of supplementary question to you, Zoe, I think, was about getting to know the players as well, because some players have stayed, haven't they? You've new contracts for some players who've stayed at the club, but there is new faces.
Yeah, I think that's actually a fantastic question, and probably my favourite of the evening, to be honest, because I think you're right. I think we've spoke a lot tonight about Fran Kirby and the significance that she brings to the team, and obviously she's a fantastic world-class player, but you're right, we've got a lot of other players, and we've done a lot of work in this transfer window with players that might not necessarily be out there and recognised names, in terms of they're not playing for the Lionesses, and they've not had fantastic careers at Chelsea where they've won every sort of trophy possible. But I think we have got a lot of good players that we might have recruited from sort of leagues that aren't as recognised, but obviously everybody knows that we're a data-driven football club, so they've been recruited for a reason, and that's because they have obviously been really good on the pitch at some point in their development. And I think, like, you're right, how can we help you get to know them? And I think obviously we're trying to do as much work as we can on sort of our social media channels in terms of trying to put more content out there, but I think how we help you get to know them is by us being successful on the pitch. And I think everything at the moment sort of comes hand in hand as we're trying to grow and keep getting further up the league, because the better, probably when some of the players in the past have signed that you now know that might have left, you didn't know them when they first come in, but they're successful on the pitch, they score goals, they're in the limelight, you get to know them, you get to watch the sort of post-match interviews and things like that. I think the stronger we become on the pitch, the more recognisable our players become, not just for Brighton and Hove Albion fans, but for also football fans in general. And I think we're trying constantly to keep growing the game in general, but to also keep growing our brand and our team and our players, and we'll do everything we can with your support, hopefully, to keep continuing to sort of put our players on the stage so that everybody hopefully can get to know them and sort of build relationships with our players, and not hopefully put them in the shop window to go elsewhere, but hopefully just obviously bring more exposure to them. And yeah, we obviously need your support in that, but we'll also do our bit in terms of trying to promote them on social media channels, trying to do things where you can get to know them, but then also Dario will help develop them on the pitch to become stars that hopefully get more attention as well.
But they're brilliant post-match, aren't they, with the fans as well, so that's a really big opportunity too, isn't it, in terms of getting to know them. The amount of time that they spend is fantastic. So yes, this gentleman over here.
Hello, Zoe. It's probably the same question I've asked you all last season. The best way of communicating to the fans is with a printed programme. And we do miss not being able to read about the opposition and being able to list the teams on the back of a programme before the matches start. And I do know, having been to quite a few away games last season at clubs that did do programmes, and they did base these programmes directed at the younger fan, little puzzles for children to take part in. I can't understand why we still can't produce a programme, because to answer your question, social media is not for everyone, and not children wouldn't be involved in that. They would like to read about their favourites out there playing for the Albion girls, and please bring back the printed programme.
Well, I think there was a question in there in terms of maybe why there isn't one as well, which for those people that, I know you've asked the question quite a few times, so for those that haven't, maybe if you could just elaborate, Zoe, on sort of the challenges of producing them.
I thought we got on well, and you handed me the hardest question, the hardest question of the evening. No, I've heard you, I promise you, I haven't ignored you when you answered me the question. Obviously, it's something that we have really taken into consideration. We've had a lot of serious conversations around whether it's something that we can do. And I think, just so everyone's clear and everyone probably hears sort of the same answer, it's not something that we'll be changing. We'll not be bringing back the printed programmes, unfortunately. There's just, when we produce them, what it costs to produce them, and then the amount of them that we sell, it's just not cost effective for us to do that. Obviously, I know it's not what you want to hear, so I am sorry for that, but it is something that has been really considered. We have listened, we've tried to obviously have some conversations around it, but I think that is where we are for the moment, and they'll not be coming back, certainly not in the near future.
Well, there is
I know you're not happy by that.
But there's a lot of clubs moving to digital programmes, doesn't matter what division, whether it's WSL, Premier League, even abroad, a lot of people are going digital, aren't they?
Yeah, you're right, and I think that's obviously we have the digital programme, and obviously a lot of other clubs are moving in that direction as well. And I think the bit that you say around sort of the interaction for the kids, obviously with something there they can get signed, that's something that again we've taken that on board, and that's something that we will ensure is in place next season through the supporter services as well. They have heard that, and we will try and make that more accessible for the kids. Obviously the real important part for us is afterwards the interacting with the fans, and that's something that's really unique to women's football, and we're really keen to continue doing that, whilst also making sure that we keep the safety of the players as well at the forefront of that. We're really keen to continue doing that, and trying to give something for the fans to be able to get signed is something that we will try and encourage next season.
Okay, just 10 more minutes to go in the Albion Women's Fans Forum here, live from the American Express Community Stadium. You're just joining us. We've got our panel of Zoe Johnson and Dario Vidosic. We've got some more questions still to come, so let's try and squeeze in as many as we can. Just down here from a lady who is actually in the front row. So,
hello there, this is a question for you, Dario. Why did you move here to Brighton and give up your life in Australia to come here?
The weather, I think.
Yeah, the weather. Yeah, when it's like this, 1 week out of summer, then it's it can be hard. But look, goes back to sort of what I answered before, being highly ambitious as well myself. So, being able to challenge myself in the best league in the world, against some of the best coaches as well in the world, the best players in the world are all heading in this direction. So it was always a goal of mine. I didn't really, in football you can't plan anything. So I didn't have an agent. I wasn't out there trying to shop myself around. I was just sort of just enjoying football. Had a terrific season with Melbourne the year prior, and one sort of eventful night, had a message on WhatsApp from Mike from Brighton. I was actually thought it was an agent of a player I was trying to sign in Melbourne at the time. Opened the message quickly, and to my disbelief, it was Brighton, and jumped on a call that night, and then jumped on a video call with Zoe and Mike the night after, and then for the 2 nights after that as well, and then what seemed to go really, really quickly, then went really, really slowly with the visa. And it was sort of just waiting to see if that would go through, and and then when it did. But yeah, it was a very easy decision to make, even after the first set of calls, and the ambition of the club and of myself. It sort of all really aligned, and yeah, it's as I said, to Brighton's not a club you say no to.
A lot's happened since that call, Dario, and I imagine you've been doing a lot of work with the players and everything, but how does Dario switch off from football? It seems like you're very intense in terms of watching football, spending time at the training ground, getting in early and everything. How do you find your release generally? I mean, I know it's early days here in Sussex, but you know, how do you like to relax and enjoy yourself? And
I'm still trying to figure that out.
I think we probably all are, aren't they?
Yeah, so,
but I mean, there's a lot to explore, isn't there? So I guess you're keen to get to know the area as well.
Yeah, I would like to. I was lucky enough when I first moved. I was sort of in Brighton, in the area. Then went to Worthing. Now I'm in Stenning. So got to see a little bit of the place. And it's a beautiful place. I went one night. Funnily enough, being from Australia, I went to a first time a cricket game in Hove.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the first time I went and watched a live cricket game, and I sort of wanted to walk home that evening and just take everything in, and it was just a very beautiful night, and just taking in everything of the area, and it's sort of everything sort of hit in that night, and of how sort of lucky I am to be where I am, and that's not just the football, but also it's a very beautiful place, and I found that also the people in Brighton are also really, really nice people, and it seems like it's a great place everywhere I've been, whether it's at the club or going to a local restaurant or to the shops. It's beautiful people as well in Brighton.
Well, thank you for Daniel Hughes as well, because he scored loads of runs for Sussex, so a good Australian import there for us. Hopefully Sussex will be able to get promotion. Don't forget, Ball by Ball commentary continues tomorrow on the BBC Sport website. It's all getting very exciting, guys. So if you like your cricket as well, you can tune into that too. Go on then, let's get another question in.
So Dario, I just want to say I love your enthusiasm. You've been to the Crawley under-21 game, and I just really want to ask, because I also saw the vlog when the pre-season out in Spain, when you had the bonding session, when you welcomed Bruno to the team, Bruno Villamala, and you was watching the men's game. I think that was against Manchester United. Great result for that. Are you hoping that maybe Fabian and the boys are going to return the favour? Maybe we have an evening game, because I've also noticed that Fabian, has done a lot in the community as well. We just had the international break. Or is there a bit of competitive? Because you're two young managers, I mean, you're not that much older than me. I mean, Fabian's younger than us. I mean, who's going to win in an arm wrestle?
Who's going to win in an arm wrestle? That's again. Well, there's one for the social media guys to get sorted at some stage. So,
now look, he's been awesome. So he's been very open. He invited me in for a on set pieces, the data. So I was able to sit in on that and just sort of get all that information. And he's welcomed me to games, to training. So hopefully I'll be able to do that on Thursday. That'll be the first chance that I can get to. So, he's a terrific coach, and one that I would love to see live and to see how he does it, and maybe pick a couple ideas, because what he was doing at St. Pauli and also what he's managed to implement already in the first 3 games has been, I don't have to talk too much about it. I'm sure everyone in the room knows. He's for 31 years old, but also what he's been able to do. And you got to appreciate also how brave he is to just play. It doesn't matter who they're playing against. So I feel like we might have that in common, where we're not too sort of phased who it is, that he stays true to the football he wants to play, and they've been terrific. So no, probably won't be an arm wrestle, but we're very supportive of the men's team. I want to try watch as many games as I possibly can live, and if not, then watch it all on TV and support, and we hope that they have a terrific season, achieve all their goals that they've set out to achieve, and hopefully we can follow suit as well.
Just got literally about a minute and a half left, Dario. So do you want to just say a few final words just ahead of that game against Everton? Obviously things are starting to get quite exciting now, apart from obviously just your arm wrestling Fabian Hürzeler, but apart from that, there's obviously some games coming up. Man City is a big one obviously as well, but just a message I suppose to everybody involved with the club and the fans as well about ahead of the new season.
Look, I think just it's going to be fun. I think it will be a fun season. We're building along. We're excited, but we're just enjoying the day-to-day process of football. But it is hard not to be excited by round one of a new season. It's also great. The men's team have created a big buzz, and I'm sure everyone's looking forward to this weekend as well. So we're just around the corner as well. So hopefully we can ride that wave of support, can come across to Crawley next weekend, and that we get as many travelling supporters as well, because it doesn't matter how many people come. We can it's that small token of, and as I said, it sometimes it can be just one person can be enough. That could be enough of a motivator, could be enough on that day to help us get across the line. So yeah, we're looking forward to it, and we hope many people come and join us on the journey ahead.
Well, thanks very much indeed. We've had so many different topics to discuss this evening. I think it's been a real success. So thank you very much to you for all your questions tonight. And hopefully this will be the first of many fans forums. We didn't quite get the full answer on the stadium, but I'm sure that's coming. And I think there's more details to follow. And of course, don't forget the transfer window does finish just on Friday at 11 o'clock. So very exciting indeed. Of course, there's coverage in the build up to that first game against Everton. But the final thing for me to do is just to say thank you very much indeed to the panel this evening. The Managing Director of the Women's Football here at Brighton and Hove Albion, Zoe Johnson. Thank you very much indeed, Zoe. And I think we all wish him all the best for the coming season. Your new Albion head coach, Dario Vidosic. Thank you. Thanks very much for listening. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.